August here. Today we're going to talk about this segment anyway. There are two types of hikers. You got the lone wolf and you got the chameleon. Okay? Now the lone wolf, they're the singular-minded, driven hiker. All right? They only got one thing in mind, and that's the mission. That's their goal. If they're starting in Georgia, then their goal is Katahdin. Their goal is going to Maine, no holds barred. Now, you could be sitting in camp, at a shelter around a campfire, chopping it up, talking to everybody, just, doing your thing. And all of a sudden this hiker will come in, They like drop their pack for a second. They start to drink or whatever. They go through their pack, take out some energy bars, wolf them down. Next thing you know, they're strapping up their stuff and they're gone, And we'll just turn to one another and be like, who was that masked man? They're just in and out, And so you go to sleep. You wake up the next morning, you do a 10-mile day, you go into the next shelter, and then you look at the register. What's a register? Well, most shelters come with a trail register, and what they do is when hikers hike, they come in, they put their name, they put the date, and they put down their experiences, and that's like the phone system. If you want to know what's going on with somebody, you look in the register and see if they pass through. So anyway, you do 10 miles out, you go to the next shelter, and you read this little entry, and it's like, Long Wolf here, came in at 1:45 this morning. I did a 30-mile day. I'll sleep for four hours and then I'll get up and do a 50-mile day tomorrow. And we pass around the register like, can you believe this? And so that's an example of lone wolf. Okay. Now, excuse me. The chameleon. Now they're total opposite. Okay. The chameleon is like water. Okay. They can take the form of any space they occupy. They can just totally mesh, okay? They're very sociable, and if they're not sharing a story, then they're lending an ear. They're there to listen, and they're just totally engaging. Now, some might say, "Oh, that's just fake." Nah, I wouldn't call that fake at all. That's just in a word, just being open, open into new experiences, listening, and just trying to learn, and that's what the chameleon can do. They spend most of their effort meshing, trying to bond so they can actually, make the most of the experience. Now, fast forward, okay? Lone wolf finishes the trail. So, he's sitting in the airport lounge, or she, whoever, sitting in the airport lounge, drinking and, waiting on their flight, and so this guy or person turns over and be like, hey, what, are you like a marathon runner or something like that? Because, you're going to be, hiking all that. And so lone wolf would be like, nah, I was just hiking the Appalachian Trail. And so the guy's like, really? Man, I heard so much about that trail. How was it like? Lone wolf is like, yeah, it was cool. I'm like, oh. Well, tell me something. I heard this place called Grace Highlands, Did you go to Grace Highlands? Yeah, I've been there. But I kind of passed through at night, so I didn't really see much. The guy's like, oh, okay. Hey, what about the presidential range in New Hampshire? Did you see the huts? I heard those were awesome. Yeah, well, I did go through there, but I didn't really look at the huts or anything. I was just trying to get through there. Oh, really? Yeah. Hey, well, trail days. You had to go on the trail days. You hiked the trail, right? I didn't go back for trail days. That's something you got to really get off the trail for and double back. And I wasn't thinking about that. Like, oh, wow. So what did you do? Well, I was doing 20-mile days, and this one time I was hiking and I got caught in a rainstorm, and I pitched my tent under a tree. And the guy's like, oh, okay, yeah, well, hey, my plane's going. It's nice meeting you, and that's it. That's the extent of lone wolf. Now, take another scenario, okay? Chameleon didn't even finish the trail. All right, so. Two cars pull up at the airport. Chameleon gets out, grabs his pack, and while Chameleon is grabbing his pack, all doors open up on all these cars, and people come out and start showing Chameleon love. They're stuffing his pockets with email addresses and Facebook addresses and giving him hugs, or her giving him hugs and everything. And they're just out there for a minute, just celebrating each other, saying goodbye, and doing the whole bon voyage thing, right? And so Chameleon comes to the airport. Now they're standing in line to buy their ticket, and so a curious person says, what? Here, you like a star or something? And the guy's like, or Chameleon's like, oh well, I was just hiking the Appalachian Trail. I just got off the trail. And they're like, really? I heard about the Appalachian Trail. What was it like? You know, and Chameleon's like, oh, it was a blast, man. You would not believe the fun I had. I got over 1,000 pictures, and I met so many good people. You know, and they're like, really? And Chameleon's just going on and on. Man, I went swimming in waterfalls. Oh, and Grace Highlands was the bomb. You know, I mean, we saw horses. We did this. We did that. You know, and then there was trail days. Now, Chameleon is just going on and on and on, not even realizing, you know, the amount of bravado and energy and just how much I'm trying to stay as okay, I'm trying to say they, because I don't want to make it seem like it's a male or female thing, so it's kind of hard when I'm talking to like have a mental awareness of what gender I'm using. But at any rate, you know, Chameleon, you know, they're just going on, and while Chameleon is talking, all these people are gathered around him, and they're all enthralled, you know, and they're sitting there listening, and they truly feel that energy. So, you know, like I said, hike your own hike. I'm not judging either one of them. But at the end of the day, everything we are, the sum of who we are, is the sum of our experiences. Okay? Our experiences are what makes us and shapes us. Okay? It's our past, it's our present, and it's going to go on to shape us in our future. Now let's take that one step further. What are experiences? In a word, I would have to say that experiences are nothing more than memories. Okay, there are the things that happen to us that affect our psyche, that we implant either voluntary or involuntary, and it shapes us on a physiological scale. It shapes us. All right. Now, you know, you got to be mindful of stuff like that. You know, and there is a presence of mind. There is a state of mind you have to be in. Not to say that you're going to be able to remember everything you want to remember, but there is a state of mind that you have to be in to receive. Okay, a state of mind that you have to be in to actually be open enough to actually see what's going on, to be a part of everything around you. And so, really, at the end of the day, is it about accomplishing your goal, or is it about being the best that you can be and seeing everything that you can see in that little small snippet of time that we all have, you know, to do the trail and things of that nature? And I'll offer this to you, because I'm not knocking anyone's hike, but I'm going to tell you this. If the experience you want out of the Appalachian Trail is to be the chameleon and not the experience of Lone Wolf, then these are the things you got to keep in mind. Number one, everybody comes in there with a schedule. And as a soldier and as a planner, a schedule is important. But at the same time, you know, don't be so regimented. Okay, if you're going in with the intention of through hiking, and every decision you make, you're basing on a schedule, okay, that has to do with you getting the main. You're basing on a budget that has that every decision in the present has to do with Maine. I'm gonna tell you right now, abandon that. Okay, it's okay with having a budget, but dude, you know, you 3 months into your journey, and you're passing down, nah, I'm not going to go in town. Nah, I'm not going to take a 0 day. No, I don't have the budget to do that. Or, you know what, I don't have time to do that. And you're doing all this for something that's supposed to happen 6 months down the road. Don't do it. You know, because, you know, we're not fortune tellers. You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. You can sprain your ankle, you know, and then you're sitting at home with all this money in the bank with nothing to show for it. So I'm going to tell you like this. Take the time to take the pictures. Take the time to get to know people, you know, listen, you know, share your stories and things of that nature, because as you do these things, your goals are going to change. I've known people that came out in the trail for 30 days and had such a great experience, they're calling their parents saying, you know what, I'm going to stay out here for a little while longer, end up through hiking. And at the same time, you know, I know people through hiking, and I mean, so meticulous, got everything planned out, and they get derailed like 2 weeks in, and they end up leaving. And the sad part about it is what caused them to leave are you know, like stress and things of that nature for something that hadn't even happened yet. That they're just like tripping on something that's going to go down in Maine, and they're not even paying attention to the moment. So what I would tell you is it's just you know, be mindful of your goals. There's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, live. At the same time, share. At the same time, you know, don't be so guarded. Don't be so regimented, so anal retentive that it has to be a certain way. Don't do that, because at the end of the day, it just may turn out to sabotage you more than it will help you. Okay, keep in mind, you're in the woods. Okay, this is the trail. This isn't a combat environment where everything has to be great. You know, this isn't stock trading and everything has to be right to get it down. You know, this isn't about numbers, crossing T's and dotting I's. It's about an adventure. So go into it with an open mind. You know, take deep breaths, take your time, slow it down, and just listen. All right, out here.